So, folks, I was on the Lines Transatlantic Call-In show. Yet again, I co-hosted with Alexander, taking calls about trans issues ranging from advice to spicy debate. Check it out.
Trippy, he, him pronouns from Tennessee. You're live with Luxander and Riverboat Jack. Are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm so sorry. My fiance called me.
Oh, it's
Yay!
okay. No worries. Your topic is about agender identities, and you have a couple questions. So lay it on us. What do you have?
Yeah. So like, I'm first of all like I'm an ally like through and through. I've been listening to y'all for a good amount of time now. And so I've heard some conversation about agender identities. It just kind of gets typically overshadowed by like the binary trans experience. So like I've I've always had certain feelings like certain identity things about myself, like my given name and certain things about like masculine presenting uh kind of like rubs me a little bit harsh, but I could just be like this and overthinking myself, being neurodivergent. But like I'm just curious, one how does one gain an understanding of gender expression, if that makes sense?
I mean, sorry, I'm in the middle of eating pizza. I am non-binary, and I would describe myself as agender. And the problem with gender expression for a non-binary person is that like there's like no such thing as zero gender in your expression. So like it's like short fingernails are masculine, long fingernails are feminine. So do you take some pliers and remove your fingernails if you want to have zero gender expression? Like functionally, if you are trying to convey or communicate that you are non-binary, the main option that you have is to mix and match. So like, oh, you've got the beard and then you've got the fingernails and you have the skirt and the muscles, and like it's about like mishmashing things together. My personal thing at this point
Right.
is like I'm not trying to look non-binary. I know that I look femme. I'm comfortable being femme. I like being femme. Um, and I know that people are going to perceive me as a woman, and I just don't care about that anymore. But also, I came out like 17 years ago, so that kind of comes
Mhm.
with time as well. So I'm just a big proponent of like experimenting with whatever makes you happy. And like, I also have agender friends who like haven't done any medical transition and they present as their assigned sex at birth, and they just don't care. And so, yeah, it's like different levels of how engaged do you want to be? How much work do you want to put into it? How much fun are you having with it? In like that trade off of like, does this feel like work, and does it feel like I'm trying really hard to communicate something, or am I just like trying to find what's comfy and fun?
Right. So like to give a little background on myself, I've always been very much of just a free spirited person. Kind of like in my through my early 20s, I was very like hippie-ish, and now I've just kind of adapted to my surroundings, and I'm growing to be like more of a country person. With like how I'm presenting myself. Um, and there have been things that I've tried, like using certain like colored contacts and getting facial piercings that have like that's given me a sense of euphoria about my looks. I just don't know if that has anything to do with gender, because like I've been fortunate enough to at least not have like like full blown gender dysphoria, because like I've heard how terrible that can be, but like there's parts that make me question whether I am actually cis or if I may be some non-binary.
I mean, cis people don't usually think about it that much. So you've got that going for you at least. Uh,
You know what?
so
That's entirely fair.
Yep.
I do agree. I actually do personally think that alternative style is a type of gender expression and like a type of non-binary gender expression. Like I think that like when I am thinking of like its pronouns, for example, I am thinking of like somebody who is goth or who is altering their body in ways that are like bordering on transhuman, like somebody with a split tongue, and somebody with facial piercings. Like I definitely think that that is one way to approach gender expression. And like you mentioned, like changing like colored contacts. Um, like I do think that that is one of the ways in which we kind of test our boundaries. And I do think that non-binary people, sometimes we have this thing, and I think you mentioned like being autistic as well, where it's like,
It's ADHD, but I mean,
oh, sure,
never been
neurodivergent.
diagnosed autistic, whatever. Yeah.
Same boat here. Yeah, diagnosed ADHD,
Cool.
not diagnosed autistic, but many overlapping things
Yeah.
with autistic
Yep.
people. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I do think that there is a little bit with neurodivergent people that like I don't really connect with a lot of other normatively human things. So when you
Right.
change your body in ways that feels like it's transgressing humanity, or if it puts you in a category of like that's a freaky person, I don't know what that person is. I do think that that resonates with non-binary people in those kind of ways. So yeah,
Yeah,
I would affirm that that's related.
Definitely something that's resonated with me. Like specifically, like I know some people, they'll use colored contacts to give themselves pretty blue eyes or to make their brown eyes look a little more hazel or whatever. But I've always gone for like more non-traditional stuff. Like my favorites are my pinwheel ones. They kind of look like a hypnosis spiral. And like using
cool as hell.
those and getting facial piercings and strange haircuts, that's made me feel euphoric. And like, there's a part of me that's like becoming more comfortable with just being straight up a dude. Like, I've got a big bushy communist mustache and, a mullet and like kind of country, kind of pretty straight up like country dude, as you would see them often where I'm from, but also there's just certain things like my facial piercings and all that stuff that stuff definitely makes me more comfortable. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, and also I just want to throw out there, like if you are not feeling an affinity with any kind of gender or don't have gender feelings really, like that is part of being agender. Like just if you kind of have like a just nebulous gender feeling or lack thereof, like that is agender. Like that nebulousness, that, yeah. And, you don't have to like ascribe to that fully yourself, but like if you are, it's your identity, right? Like if you are identifying more with being a man, or you're identifying more as kind of like just a nebulous sort of they them situation, like that's entirely up to you. Like maybe you're fluid in that sense. It's complicated and it's wonderful and it's fun and you can play around with it.
Right. Yeah. I've been watching some YouTube videos. Just, like I said, I heard a call. I don't know if you heard in the call screen, but the thing that inspired me to like ask about agender identities was there was like a really, he was just really bad faith caller, from like maybe a month ago. And y'all had a conversation very similar. Like I remember you explaining like the fingernails things and stuff like that. And that kind of had me calling because like I felt like it may have been describing something that I've not had words for necessarily. So I'll definitely keep looking into things and trying things out. Kind of not a great time for me to really experiment with, how I'm looking. I'm trying to look halfway decent for my wedding. And, I know like, I could try something that definitely doesn't work for me or whatever. But I'm at least going to keep looking into this for the time being. Thank you very much for
I have to
giving
say,
me your experience.
you're going to be looking at those wedding photos for the rest of your life. So you better like how you look in them. You know, you do not want to be looking back on your wedding photos going, uh-oh, that's not me. That doesn't feel like legitimate to me. And I also just want to point out that one of our like silly positions that we're going to potentially have to defend today in our end segment is cowboy aesthetic is masculine drag. So you can camp up cowboy look and make it feel like drag. So I'm just saying, you know, just because like if you were assigned male at birth and you're doing cowboy stuff, that doesn't mean that it's not drag and that you can't. Like I know a creator who like has a mustache and does the cowboy look with glam makeup, just with everything's cowboy and then it's like boom on the eyeshadow. So, you know, don't be afraid to explore. And like I said, you want those wedding photos to feel like a good thing to reflect on later.
Like the Lil Nas X cowboy look is excellent.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and sharing with me. I'll definitely take what you've said into consideration. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day, and I'm going to keep watching and keep learning from y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Trippy. We appreciate you. Bye-bye.
That was a call. Remember to like, leave a comment longer than 8 words, really helps with the algorithm, and subscribe. And also check out the live show every Thursday. Links all down below. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's